Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's podcast.
Yeah. All right, we got a little bit of juicy news this week.
We do. I'm thinking that's going to be probably like our bigger, like kind of our big deal. So I guess we can kind of talk about like what we've just been up to before we get into the juicy bits.
Yeah. Been kind of chilled. Been catching up on some Gundam. Just finished watching the 8th MS team.
Yeah.
That's pretty rad. That the Ready Player One got me in the Gundam mood.
Mm-hmm.
And I really liked that. I mean, like in the movie, in Ready Player One, obviously it was as anime could be with him like jumping around and doing the lasers and stuff. But I really like the original series and this one, which is based in the same time frame.
Yeah.
Because it's so like ground level and like sneaking through like jungles and stuff.
Yeah, well, it's kind of funny because like I remember explaining to you and Ben, who does our music, like a while back, explaining like, oh man, you guys should watch the original like Mobile Suit Gundam.
Yeah.
Like,
when we did our Gunpla Day.
Yeah, and so we had all decided, oh well, we're gonna. I forgot like how we did. We were just like, hey, let's go to this model shop and pick up.
Because I remember I said to you, I was like, man, I got the itch to like build a Gundam, and you're like, well, let's go up there because you said there was like a model store near your apartment.
Yeah, it's like walking distance.
Yeah. Yeah,
and we were building them, and I was like, oh, well, this is the perfect time to pop in Mobile Suit Gundam. And then I remembered that like not a lot got done on the Gunpla.
Yeah,
there was a lot of watching of that.
Yeah, because it's like, we thought it'd be fun, because it's like, it's like 80s animation. It looks like G.I. Joe. I mean, it's better quality than
I would say Transformers.
I'd say, or like Transformers.
I want to say Transformers was animated by the same company.
Probably.
I want to say, yeah.
And it's a little bit better quality than that, but still, that's about where it's at.
But like Amuro looks like Spike.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I thought this would be fun because it's like goofy, like 80s, and then you get into it, and it's like, oh man, like this is actually like a good show. Like,
yeah, and it's pretty serious for all intents and purposes. Like, it suffers from the fact that the studio wanted it to be like
marketed to kids,
and be like a super robot TV show. So there are like super robot like parts of it.
Yeah,
but the creator was so like dead set on no, like I have a vision and I want to make it, I want to make like a real robot show. I want to make like, what would happen if robots were real and used as weapons of war? Whereas, the studio was thinking, yes, but what if that robot had a surfboard in space?
Oh my God, he did have a surfboard in space.
Yes, and he had like a laser mace. Or no. Yes? No,
it was just a hammer. It was just a hammer. They called it the Gundam hammer, but it was a mace.
Yeah.
Or a flail.
A flail, yeah.
Yeah, it was a flail. But yeah, he did have a surfboard. It was like a spaceship surfboard that he'd also like fuse with.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was dumb. I loved it, but it was dumb.
And the original creator, Tomino, did not want that.
Yeah.
And he actually came out with a book. What
it was supposed to be.
Yeah, because the show failed miserably. But because Bandai had it, they were experimenting with toys called Gunpla. They started selling it, and then the Gunpla got so popular, and there was like a resurgence, kind of like Star Trek.
Yeah,
like where Star Trek kind of flopped.
But the merchandising.
So then they like made the 3 movies, which were like they cut all the kiddie stuff out. Yeah. And then after that, he finally wrote a novelization of like his original treatment, and it's pretty good. Yeah. But like there's no primary colors.
Yeah. And didn't he get a manga artist recently to do like a version of his like keep it true to his novel, but as if it were an ongoing and self-contained or something?
So there's a manga series called The Origin.
That's right. It was the Origin series.
Like the first few volumes go way more into Char's past, and it touches on a lot of the stuff prior. Like it focuses.
It's like setting up the series.
Yeah. So and then it continues with the series. Yeah. But it's done in a more serious tone. So the events of the series are all present in the manga, but the campier, like kiddier type parts of it are no longer present. So it's kind of like a true to form.
Yeah, because I would definitely love to see, because like right now it's in like the like because it's like Origins, it's like before everything, right? But I would is it actually getting into like the
it's like the manga actually tells the whole story.
Oh, okay, so just the anime adaptations, like the OVAs, are just like the stuff before right now.
Okay, so it's really weird. It's like Berserk.
Okay, yeah.
So the manga starts off and it is very close to like the show.
Yeah.
But it does there are just chapters that go back. So it kind of like starts it off like how Berserk did. Like it starts it off and it goes, here's, 0079, here's the 1 year war. And then it goes into Char's past.
Gotcha. So
and then kind of flashes back forward.
So it's told non-linear in a way.
Yeah.
Or has non-linear aspects.
Yeah, and then they did OVAs, and I think they were only originally going to do the OVAs of
like Char and
of Char's that portion. Like there's like 3 volumes of the manga, but it sold so well that they're like, nah, never mind. So now they're doing the whole thing.
Oh.
So basically, we're getting
like not OVAs, like an actual series.
Well, they're OVA. It's going to be like how if you're familiar with Hellsing.
Yeah.
Ultimate.
Okay, so where it's like you have like 7 like hour-long episodes or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to be like, if they follow the manga, it would be 12 like hour-long OVAs, and it would retell all of.
I'm actually super excited about that because I really like that. I really like the original Gundam, and I mean, like, 'cause I borrowed the DVDs from you, and then I showed them to my brother. He likes anime, but he's not as much into like crazy over the top anime. Like sometimes he does, but he doesn't watch a lot of mecha. And I was just telling him a little bit about it, and he's like, "Oh, that kind of sounds interesting." So when he was in town for Christmas, like we watched like the first couple episodes, and then he's like, "Oh, let's watch a couple more." And so we ended up watching the entire series, like in that like 2 weeks that he was in, because it's just so.
That's impressive because it's 50.
Yeah,
it's 40. It's 49 episodes.
Yeah, it's pretty long. So I'm actually pretty pumped. Like I'm like.
Yeah.
Because it has a lot of good in there. And I still enjoy the original series because it's got a certain charm to it with how 80s it is. I'd love to see an updated version of it. So that's good. And like the movies are okay from what I've heard. My brother watched them and he's like, I like a lot of things and don't like a lot of things about the movies.
Yeah, the movies are really good. Like the movies are great to show somebody who's maybe not ready to commit themselves to 49 episodes. Like it tells the story really well. Yeah. It cuts just a lot of the fat. Yeah. And then they reanimate some stuff. The movies actually do take out like the goofier stuff. Yeah, and they also give characters in certain battles, certain characters are piloting like different mobile suits and all to be more in line with like how the original creator wanted it. So it's good.
That's good.
But then 8th MS team is kind of like the like, if the main character flew around and took out 10 guys per episode,
like these are the grunts.
These are the 10 guys he's taking out. Yeah, these are just the guys that are in the normal mobile suits that are human. They're not new types. They have no superpowers, and they're just fighting a ground war on Earth.
Oh yeah,
while everything's happening around them, and it's pretty good.
It is pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, like this Gundam stuff sounds interesting to you. Like we can do a video about Gundam or Gunpla sometime. So just let us know.
We went off on a tangent.
Yeah, but you've been playing any games recently?
Games, no. Yeah. Like I haven't even touched a controller in a week.
Oh no, I totally understand that. I recently picked up Overwatch games. I hadn't played in a while, but they got an event going, and they've added a PvE mode for the time being, and it's pretty fun. It kind of almost plays. It's like really arcadey. It almost plays like a Left 4 Dead style, like arcade style shooter.
Oh, okay.
And so like you play. It takes place before the fall of Overwatch. I know I know you're not familiar at all with the lore, but there was a team called Blackwatch, which was like their who's Blackwatch?
Okay.
And so it starts with like an extrajudicial arrest that turns into an extrajudicial execution. Okay. And then a very messy escape. So you're like trying to like escape through Venice, and there's just like waves of dudes coming at you and whatnot. It's pretty cool. It's fun. It kind of makes me wish there was like a single player mode now because Overwatch has a really cool and interesting story that you don't get a lot of because it's mostly a multiplayer game. Because it was basically Overwatch is the built from a game that was in development for like almost 10 years that failed.
Okay.
And the team was basically told, you got 6 weeks to come up with a new project or we're disbanding the team and you're just going to be put elsewhere. And so they came up with Overwatch, which credit to them because it's a very fun game, but you can tell they had a story to tell.
Yeah.
And because they have, Team Fortress 2, how they have the, like, meet the sniper, like those really funny videos.
The good part about Team Fortress.
Yeah, the good part about Team Fortress 2. They kind of do that, but they're like story vignettes. So it'd be like a 6-minute, almost Pixar quality short film.
Nice. About
a character stuff. And so...
Yeah, the Team Fortress 2, because there are the diehard fans. You see them at conventions all the time.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, if people are this passionate, this game must be something else. I turned it on, and I went, oh, okay, well, this is just like Counter-Strike. But this isn't even like Counter-Strike. This is like the multiplayer portion of a game where they focused 100% on the main campaign.
Yeah.
And then they were like, ooh, let's just throw a multiplayer in there.
Yeah.
And I was a little, no, not a little. I was very disappointed because I went, well, what the heck? I mean,
it's not bad, but
it's not bad, and it's fun. And I did play it on 360, which I know that there's a lot of like mod community support.
Yeah.
It just did not mesh with me. And I think that's why like I don't play Overwatch.
Yeah.
That style of game just isn't really my style of game.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's for a very specific. I totally get that.
But then I watched the videos that they made, and I'm like, okay, now I understand it. I would watch a Team Fortress 2 movie and never play the game and be a fan of Team Fortress 2.
Oh, same here because
they're hilarious.
Yeah, they're really funny, and they did a comic. They did comics about it, and they're like
read them.
Made with like lore. And I think my understanding of the Team Fortress lore is there's these two guys who like 60 years ago, however long ago, they're basically two businessmen who were like fighting over some property or something. And so they hired mercenaries to like, then they're fighting over some like land or something like that. And it's just been going so long. Like, I think like the dudes who were doing it are gone. But because they set in place, like, the money transfers and this and that, like, they're just still going at it, like, all this years later.
What remains?
Yeah. But yeah, I totally, like, if they released, like a Netflix series where it's just, like, I would watch it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I will say, I'm kind of excited. I'm also angry. So Ghost Recon, they are now into their, like, year 2.
Okay.
So, like, all the year 1 stuff is done.
Yeah.
Maybe because I just haven't played a lot of like modern games that have season passes. I never quite understood the fact that a season pass is for a season.
Yeah.
Because now they have their year. They're in year 2, and they're like, oh well, here's all this cool stuff for year 2, and I was getting really excited, and then they're like, this is all available with the year 2 pass, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I got really salty because I was kind of like, I don't want to pay another $30. Like, I already paid for the game.
Yeah.
And the season pass. Like, why do I need to pay another $30 And then I'm like, oh, yeah, season.
Yeah.
So, okay, I get it. And I was like, but I'm going to look into it. And I ended up, I caved because I played that game, with some of my best friends. And they sold me.
Yeah.
So they've actually been going and asking the community a lot of stuff like, hey,
that's good.
What are some things that irk you? The one thing that irks me the most, my character has night vision goggles, like on his helmet.
Yeah, and you can't use them?
Well, you turn them on, and the screen does the night vision.
Oh, but he doesn't.
But the goggles are still on his head. Like, they don't actually collapse down over the eyes. Yeah. It's also kind of weird if your character's not wearing night vision. Like, if it's not a cosmetic choice to have the night vision, you can still use night vision. And that irks me, that they don't, like, put a you know,
yeah,
put
like
the set on.
even if like when you did it, if
Yeah.
you didn't want to have it on your character, if you just like kind of like did this,
Yeah.
I motioned putting night vision goggles on.
So now cosmetically, if you don't have nods or the night vision, it still just does the night vision. I guess they have eyes.
Yeah.
Night eyes.
Like
I don't know.
you shine your eyes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But if you cosmetically have night vision, they actually like fold down.
Oh, that's cool.
And that might not be worth $30 to most people, but to me, I was like, okay, well.
Yeah, if you play.
I mean, but that would.
That's like one of many.
That's a patch.
Yeah.
That's a patch, so you don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But you do get more additional like night vision.
That's
like,
cool.
like real world night vision. So like
because there's like different grades of night vision and stuff.
So like your character can have like the normal like big headset, like the monocles. The if you've ever seen them, they look like alien eyes. There's like four.
Four
tubes, and you can have those. So it's really neat.
Can you get the Splinter Cells?
So if you had played Blacklist, and you had an Ubisoft account on Blacklist, like you get the Splinter Cell, like the full outfit. And you do get the Triton goggles.
I bet it's only like $5 at GameStop.
Yes, that's actually how I did it.
Oh, okay. You actually did do that.
I hadn't played Blacklist, which upsets me because Splinter Cell was like my end all be all. Like throughout middle school and high school, I love Metal Gear, and Metal Gear is my first love. My second love was Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
Like I love those, and I just never played Blacklist because it came out
in a weird time.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, I'll just go get Blacklist, and it was like $3 at GameStop, and then I'm like, oh, I also get the Splinter Cell suit in Ghost Recon, and I've never used it, but okay, whatever, it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
Speaking of Splinter Cell, though, so I'm looking at the list, I'm going, okay, I don't really play the multiplayer, so I don't really need this new class called Echelon. Wait, hold up, let me back that up. Echelon, and look at it. And it's a Splinter Cell, like
that's nice.
Character, so like you have Splinter Cell gadgets for multiplayer. I was like, well, that's super cool.
Yeah.
And I've kind of wanted to get into the multiplayer aspect. Yeah. It's just that's a very team oriented thing. So like all four of your friends playing, you kind of need.
Oh yeah.
So the first event. So basically, if you get the year 2 pass, they're now doing more events and more DLC, and you'll get that. So I caved and I got it. You get some cosmetic stuff. Like you get
that's fun.
Like 8 cosmetic loot boxes or whatever, which that's fine.
Yeah.
You get 2 or 3 Splinter Cell guns, 2 or 3 camo patterns for Splinter Cell.
Yeah.
You get the option to have the Splinter Cell headgear.
Okay, that's cool. Like
outside of the costume.
Like the tri thing.
Yeah, so you can be wearing like your t-shirt and still have those.
Yeah.
Which is neat. But what sold me is the first event is there was a trailer, and it's Sam Fisher. And you have to like, you're basically supporting him on a mission. So he's in Bolivia, like going after like, dudes doing some NSA.
Bolivians,
Yeah, he's doing like some NSA wet work, and he needs like a security team to run the op with.
That's actually super cool.
Yeah, and on top of everything else, it's Michael Ironside.
Really?
So like he's back voicing him.
That's actually super awesome.
So like you and your SF team are like rolling around with Sam Fisher taking dudes out. And I haven't played it. I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. I'm probably going to hop on tomorrow. But it was one of those like sore points where I'm like, okay, I don't want to spend this money, but
at the same time,
like I get it. And as long as they keep up stuff like this, I'm okay with that, because it would be hard to be a development team and do as much as they did in the first year and keep that up, because they added 2 complete new like campaign modes. Then they did a bunch. There's a monthly event, so there's monthly missions that are always available to you to play. But then, I mean, they knocked it out of the water with the Predator event.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Like, I was actually upset that I wasn't playing that game at the time. But I was like, there's no way I'm going to have, like, time to pick it up and start getting into it now to do that event.
Which was really cool, because, like, I mean, they have to do work, because they have to...
Oh, yeah.
They have to develop...
New assets.
Yeah.
It's not just game modes. Like, they're actually making new assets.
Yeah.
Like...
And same with the Splinter Cell. So if they continue to do that, like, I get paying for a year pass. It's just kind of a sore spot at first.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping it's worth it, and I'm hoping they said like, hey, this is literally just the first mission of like the rest of the next year.
Oh yeah,
that's coming out. So
and it's to be fair to you, it is surprising because most games don't have a second season pass.
Yes.
So like I understand your confusion because they say season pass, but then usually after 1 year they just stop supporting.
Yeah.
So like this is actually the first time I can think of where I did hear of a second season pass, at least in a long time.
Yeah. But like in most times it's just like a new multiplayer map like every other month, like in Call of Duty or something.
Yeah, yeah.
But the fact that they are continually adding to the multiplayer, they keep building the multiplayer, they keep building single player.
That's what's impressive because usually a lot of times like the companies will kind of like forget about the single player because it's the multiplayer that keeps people playing.
Yeah.
But continually supporting the single player campaign is still really cool.
Yeah, and it's actually more focused on the single player than it is the multiplayer.
Yeah, because like GTA 5, they haven't touched the single player. They actually, I think, canceled a single player expansion, and they've just been doing multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, and like Division, they never did that with the second season pass. They just kept adding stuff like buying cosmetics, which I think is a pain. There's like literally 8 million cosmetic choices in that game.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they want you to keep buying cosmetics. And they added a whole bunch. They added like a new region. They added a whole bunch to the multiplayer. But Division had a more multiplayer oriented style about it. And to be fair, when Division came out, it was completely not finished. Like it was an unfinished product.
Yeah.
It was really bad. It took them about a year to get it going. I played it a year after and loved my experience.
Yeah, that's why I was shocked when you were like, I'm playing Division. I was like, Paul, is everything okay? Yeah. Like, are you all right? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Watch, I'll show you.
And they added some new stuff.
Yeah.
And I get it, but to me it's like that game was not finished.
No.
When Ghost Recon came out, that game was completely finished.
Yeah.
And they just kept tacking on more stuff.
Yeah.
And so
well, I heard that like with Division, it was mostly damage control and trying to get it a working game and salvageable so that they could because there was only so much they could do in total with that game. So get it to where it was a serviceable game, add a little bit, make it worth your purchase. Yeah. And then they're like devoting most of their assets to making a Division 2 to be everything that the first one was supposed to be.
And I really hope that the Division 2 is
because I'll play Division 2. Division 1, it's just I don't want to like devote all the time to getting into it.
Yeah, no, it's
but I'll definitely hop on Division 2.
And I really did. So one of my good friends, he bought Division like day one and it was like this thing is a mess. It's awful. And him and I are like Tom Clancy fanboys. Yeah. Like we even played the Hawks games.
The what?
The fighter pilot.
Oh, I didn't know they had those.
They're pretty good.
No.
Like they're actually pretty decent.
There's a shocking shortage of airplane games.
They're not Ace Combat.
Yeah.
But they're good. Tom Clancy, everything we played.
Yeah.
And he was just broken about the Division. And then a year later, once they had kind of fixed it, he got back in and I played it and I really enjoyed it. It's a fun action RPG.
Yeah.
And for me, I like the modern stuff. I'm like, ooh, I like the modern guns and I like the tactical gear. So to me, it was kind of, and I'm not comparing it because Mass Effect is a work of art.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like in Mass Effect, I'm like, oh, these cool sci-fi guns look cool, but they're just cool made up sci-fi guns.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat to customize a character to have like, oh, well, he's wearing jeans and this cool plate carrier and he's got an AR and he's got a pit. Like, I like that. So it was really fun kind of playing an action RPG where it was like a real world.
Oh, yeah. And there is definitely something to be said about that. Like, because it's really cool and really fun.
And I guess like with Mass Effect, like when you customize the guns, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I love it. And their guns look awesome. And I love how they like fold and do all this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't really know what this does. Whereas in like Division or even Ghost Recon, when you're like adding a sight, you're like, okay, like I
know specifically this thing.
I know. Yeah. And like for me, cause my dad was in the Army. One of my best friends is was in the army and now he does contract work. So like for me, like I've always shot guns for fun, and so it's kind of neat being like,
I know what this.
I know exactly what this is. I know how it looks. I know how it feels, and I can make it look like how I've shot one before. So like, there's like that. There's kind of like a 1-to-1 in that. So I did enjoy it, but I would never defend the game.
Yeah.
As much fun as I had with it.
Oh yeah.
I'm hoping 2 delivers, but Ghost Recon.
That game I do really want to play.
It never, other than looking better.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, Ubisoft is famous for doing their what are those tech demos?
Yeah, yeah.
Where like everything works perfect and it's awesome. That will never happen.
Yeah.
But
like they're like where they're showing 4 guys totally playing the game.
Yeah.
And it's like they're very obviously actors.
Yeah, but they're communicating. They're like, I've got intel, blah 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 blah. And it's like no one says that. Everyone's just like, go to the next like
go through that grenade.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
But you know, no one's going, oh, this intel says that the enemy's in the northwest corner. It's like, hey, I picked up this intel. Hey, look, there's an arrow on our map. Keep following that.
Yeah.
You know, but the gameplay, unlike Division showed gameplay that never happened and to this day is not in it. Ghost Recon, the launch trailer, the graphics looked better.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is identical. Like there's nothing
actual gameplay.
Yeah, there's nothing stated other than I think there might have been like a 4-wheeler in the trailer, and there's not a 4-wheeler in the game. But that's kind of stuff that always happens where it's like, well, you know, there's something. But the core gameplay, like how the game is played and how it works, is literally what they showed. So like there was never like I picked up the game and man, I feel upset that we don't get to do X, Y, or Z.
Yeah,
because I saw it. Like,
oh yeah, for sure. And I think that's pretty cool. And you know, kind of going back to like, you know, like Division, like the whole like modern shooter RPG.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is pretty cool because so we've had like sci-fi shooter RPGs.
Yeah,
because the shooter RPG in general, other than Mass Effect, is relatively new. Like not only people done it, and but in general with sci-fi. First-person shooters or even third-person, there's been like a bit of a kind of disconnect with me because I like the idea. Because like I'm like into like Ghost Recon, right? Because that's something new and I'm kind of like into it because it's really cool, like this open world kind of like fun co-op thing. But I'm kind of burnt out on like realistic shooters. But at the same time, because like everybody wants to be like bro dude, like realistic, like. But then the sci-fi shooters aren't really filling that gap either because even the sci-fi ones are like, let's use like nobody's just going full sci. Like give me space lasers. That's why I want to play Battlefront 2 now that it doesn't suck. Yeah, it's like if I'm gonna play sci-fi, it needs to be stupid. Like I want to shoot laser beams.
Yeah.
Like. I want to throw thermal detonators, but like he'll be like, let's do a sci-fi, and then you're shooting bullets in space, and I'm like,
yeah. I mean, like Mass Effect did a good job because they're like they're like railgun.
Yeah. I mean, but it still like felt more or less like shooting a gun. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Just like a made-up sci-fi gun, so it doesn't have the novelty of like, oh, I know what that gun is.
Pew, 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 like lasers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Battlefront 2. Yeah, that's man, they overhauled that. We've talked about that once.
Yeah.
Into it.
But yeah. Okay, go ahead.
There's a new event, and I don't know if it's single player, multiplayer. I'm not sure because it's a cinematic trailer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a PvE.
I think it is, but it is.
But it like a co-op thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it is the Battle of Endor.
Yeah.
And it is Ewoks.
Like, and I heard there's going to be like just because there's that, and I think there's like. I hadn't read the article, but like somebody was describing it like a game mode is like just like an Ewok hunting game mode.
Oh my gosh!
Like if that's an actual thing where it's like you're just playing a squad of dudes going on Endor hunting Ewoks.
Like as morbid as that sounds, like it sounds fun.
That also sounds like it could be a really rad, like almost like horror type game. Where it's like you're going through and it's all dark. Because like the few screenshots I saw, it looked dark.
Yeah.
Like imagine like going through and it's like dark and you just have like lights. And you just see like little teddy bears running and your peripherals. Like,
If they could convincingly make Ewoks intimidating, then my hat's off to EA forever.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm actually down. Like, because I mean, in most places actually have Battlefront 2 pretty cheap nowadays.
I'm surprised. Like, I mean, I got it when it was on sale after all of the
all the
hoopla, and so I got it for like $20, and I've actually like I've enjoyed it, and this new rehaul that they've done has actually made it surprisingly even more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, because they finally took out...
And it's all free.
Yeah, exactly. They finally took out the, as I was saying, like, they took out the back door.
Yes.
And that was the thing, is like initially they announced all the, like, DLC being removed, and then it was on sale for $20, so you picked it up.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I was still skeptical, because, like, the progression system was still the same.
Mm-hmm.
And they hadn't said definitively it was a permanent change, because they said they kept calling it, like, a temporary thing or whatever.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not buying your stuff, EA. I know what you're up to. And then, like, with this recent update, it was like, oh, the progression system is now linear. We took out the randomness, and we've also, like, it's like we're adding in cosmetic loot boxes, but you've removed every single second, like, bit of, like, monetization.
Yeah.
For like regular stuff, and we're still coming out with new free DLC. So I was like, yeah, all right, that's fine.
Yeah, and Star Wars is always fun.
Yeah, because it's just a solid shooter too.
It is a really good shooter.
It feels good to play from everybody I've heard who's played it. Like, so
it feels really it's a really well done. But so it's kind of funny because we spent this first half of the episode talking about DLC and digital content, and dumping a whole bunch of money into new games.
Yeah.
But our main news takes it all the way back to the beginning, back when you had to pay 25 cents for every single time you played a game.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, imagine having to pay money for every life.
Yeah, like literally you turn on your PS4 and you're like, well, here we go, like dumping money.
Yeah.
Because we've got some news.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Coming to us from Twin Galaxies, which I'll give you a little background on that. But some people would go to the arcade and spend $30. Others would pay 25 cents
and play
for 30 hours.
They're still playing today.
Yeah. So I'm sure most of our listeners are savvy enough to know who Billy Mitchell is.
Yes.
He is a character.
Yeah.
Like, he is literally, when you look up 1980s.
Yeah.
He's it.
Yeah. He is the King of Kong.
He was. He was,
King of
Kong, right?
The King Dethroned.
The King Dethroned. So, a little bit of a preface. Billy Mitchell was a young man in the 80s who set a world record on Pac-Man. Was featured, I think it was a Time magazine.
Something like that, yeah.
Like, he basically became famous because he set a high score, the highest score imaginable at the time on Pac-Man.
Yeah.
And he was, I guess, of the arcade people, there's like a handful of them.
Yeah.
There was like 5 or 6 that had set world records on different machines, but he was the Pac-Man guy.
Yeah.
And I guess he was of the arcade goers, he was the one that could talk in front of a camera.
Yeah.
He had a long, gorgeous mullet.
Yeah.
He was, at the time, for a nerdy dude, pretty handsome. So he took off. Like, he was an international star.
Yeah.
And he went off to set a bunch of high scores on a bunch of other cabinets. And he was this celebrity in the 80s. And he kind of faded into obscurity until, I forgot when it was. I think it had to have been in the 90s.
Yeah.
He set the first million score, or the first million points record on Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
So he was back in the Guinness Book of World Records, back in the spotlights, and there was an arcade. So the arcade in which he did it was called Twin Galaxies. And the owner, his name Walter Day, was the first person to keep track of high scores and actually have a manual of like high scores on video game machines.
Yeah.
And like internationally.
Yeah.
And Guinness Book of World Records would work with Walter to track it.
Yeah.
And so Billy Mitchell set the million point score on Donkey Kong, became super famous again. And Walter Day, he kind of became famous because he's an eccentric dude.
Yeah.
Like he wears a referee shirt.
Yeah.
In fact, if you've seen Wreck-It Ralph, the arcade owner in that is kind of an homage to Walter Day. Long story short, there's another gentleman, and I forget how to pronounce his last name, but it's Steve Wiebe or Weeb.
Yeah.
I want to call him Steve W.
Yeah.
For respect.
Yeah.
Because I didn't do my research. There's a documentary called King of Kong in which he was a teacher.
Yeah.
Just this, like everyday man. He was a teacher. He just had a passion for Donkey Kong. And he beat the million score record.
Yeah.
But he did this as a documentary was being filmed because people knew that he was trying for it.
Yeah, yeah.
In the documentary, Billy Mitchell is kind of the bad guy because the documentary was made in the 2000s and he has a mullet.
Yeah.
And wears an American flag tie. In fact, his mullet is like so perfect that he has to use like a can of hairspray to like keep it.
Yeah.
And he kind of comes across as a tool.
Yeah.
But so Steve W. actually beat the score.
Yeah.
And that's the documentary. Like this small town guy beat this, has-been jerk.
Yeah.
And it's a really good documentary. I love it. Now their scores, they went back and forth after the documentary.
Yeah.
And they've been kind of like outdoing each other until last February. Another guy actually beat the highest score.
Right.
So he has the high score right now. I forgot his name and I feel terrible. So neither Billy Mitchell or Steve W. Have the record right now.
Yeah.
Steve W.'s like, okay. Like, I just love this game and I had my 15 minutes. Billy Mitchell, however, has been more boisterous about like, I will beat it.
Yeah.
So the news, because we keep going off on tangents, is that Billy Mitchell has been stripped of not only his high score, not only his original million score, but every score.
Yeah.
He has been erased from the records.
Every score!
Everything. Like, he no longer exists on any documentation about video game high scores.
Yeah.
Which is insane. Because when I read this, I went, oh, he's stripped of his high score that he made recently.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's because they said he cheated.
Yeah.
He used an emulator in the board of the arcade to cheat. And I thought, after watching the documentary, and documentaries, like all movies, do a good job of making sure that there is a bad guy.
Yeah, yeah.
They use the worst takes. They use the most cringeworthy interviews, and they mold your perception of the guy.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's got to be fake. But I've seen other interviews, and this guy does come across as kind of a tool.
Yeah.
I thought, okay, well, hey, he's cheated. The slap on the wrist is okay. But we still have to respect the fact that he did set the high score on Pac-Man, and I think he might still hold that because he did that.
Yeah, because that was.
But I was like, well, he still was the first to hit a million on Donkey Kong. No, like this controversy is so big because they went back and looked at the tapes and realized that there was something off. So now Steve W. So kind of the star of King of Kong, this like kind of timid, nice. Guy, he's it.
Yeah.
Right? So for the first time in like 15 years, this guy's back in the spotlight, and he's just, in interviews, he's just kind of like, well...
It's cool.
Like, that, I'm really excited, I'm really happy, I'm also, and he's such a humble guy, because even in interviews, he's like, well, I'm not going to say anything negative about Billy Mitchell, I just, I'm going to take it in stride. So right now I hold it, and I'm really proud of that, and I'm really happy. But, if it's found that he didn't cheat, he can have it back.
Yeah.
I don't think Billy Mitchell is that kind of an individual.
No.
But I don't think it's going to matter anymore because now I'm not an arcade guru.
Yeah.
But what he used is called MAME. So I don't know if that's MAME or Mommy. Or MAME. But that is the emulator that he used. And it turns out that he used that emulator in his very first million score.
Yeah.
So he's done.
Yeah. Like all of his Donkey Kong.
All of it.
Yeah.
Is gone. And it's kind of big news for the video game world because it's kind of
like he's like the first video game celebrity.
He is, and you know,
in many ways, like the whole like Donkey Kong and like King of Kong, all that is like a precursor to like our more modern like video game personalities.
Yeah, no, like definitely, and to think that you know we talk about hacking games now, and it's like but to think that like this goes back. This goes like back like 30 years.
Yeah, like an old game.
An old game, like so from the inception of video games, and it is possible because there are people who speed run who know how to break it.
Yeah.
But the fact that we've been dealing with cheating, it's kind of upsetting because you got to sit there and go, man, are people just like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a guy who's like that, and I mean, it's one thing to. Like, look, it's one thing to exploit a glitch. It's another thing to literally be cheating, like using a cheat device or emulate. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's like, I get that.
Pardon me, I kind of have a cough. Yeah, no, and I guess another thing that really blows my mind is like the owner of Twin Galaxies. Yeah. So, you know, Walter Day, he, in the documentary, he favors Billy because Billy's like a good friend of his.
Oh, yeah.
To the point of like, there's a time where, okay, this is what I'm getting. Yeah. The audacity. In the documentary, there's like an entire section of the documentary where Billy Mitchell is pointing the finger at Steve W, being like, hey, you cheated. Oh. you used an emulator. Right? So Steve has to take his hard-earned money, you know, bought arcade cabinet to Twin Galaxies. Yeah. And they strip the thing apart to look for signs of cheating. They don't.
They don't find anything.
But Walter Day, of course, in the documentary, now I can't say anything for him in real life. He's an eccentric guy. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I would love to have like a beer with him. Yeah. But he's like, oh yeah, he cheated. Like, Billy's my best friend, so if he says he cheated, he cheated. Yeah. But he didn't. Yeah. So then Steve W. sets a record again in the documentary on the arcade cabinet at Twin Galaxies. Like, he actually like flies out for this event. And, you know, so he gets it fair and square. It's the audacity
of him just being
of Billy Mitchell saying, this guy cheated because he beat my cheated score. Yeah. Like, but then saying, that's my hard-earned score.
Hey, you had to be cheating. I know it. There's no way you could have got that score.
Because I played that game.
It's impossible to get that high of a score legitimately. I should know because I had to work really hard.
Change my socks. While playing this. Yeah.
Oh my God. That's so, like, the audacity of that.
Yeah. And so in current interviews right now, Walter Day has even like stated like, I let my bias
get ahead of me
towards friendship get ahead of me. Yeah. I don't know if he curates. I believe there is still Twin Galaxies. And I want to say it's in Iowa, but now there's like an online. Yeah. And I think it was bought from Walter. Yeah. So now there's like a staff that.
Yeah. Well, because it was like I remember watching. A YouTube series about it, and like they talked a little bit about it, and it did seem really, I guess for lack of a better word, corrupt the way that was all done because like there was and I don't remember names, but I remember somebody got a high score and they wouldn't accept his high score even though they couldn't. There was nothing that they could actually prove was wrong with it, you know? Yeah. But they were just like. Where'd you get the arcade cabinet? And he like told them, and they're like, that sounds sketchy. Yeah. But then like Billy Mitchell just hands over a VHS, and they just accept it at face value.
Yes.
And it's like, you can't have those double standards. Like, if you're actually going to try and curate and be like an official organization, everybody has to play by the same rules.
Yes. And that's the thing is like, and it's really documented well in the
King of Kong. King of Kong. I haven't watched all of that. I've seen like excerpts, but I never watched the whole King of Kong. I need to.
It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm kind of like going. I have like 8 tabs open on all of this. But yeah, so originally, people would submit VHSs, and it's kind of like this, like, how do I put that? It's like its own little cult in a way of like Twin Galaxies and how they monitored it and how that's the official thing. So people would send in VHSs, and they would watch the VHSs of these people going through them, and they would look for inconsistencies or things that didn't add up. And I guess that's what happened is like they've gone back and looked at the original
because they weren't even looking at his; they just took him at face value.
I think they did look.
Well, I mean, they weren't really examining him back in the day.
Yeah, but now
for Billy Mitchell, now they are.
Now they are. And so like certain people would submit these VHSs and they would say yes or no or whatever. Yeah. But the fact that Steve W had to go to the arcade to set it and then set it. Yeah. Oh, and that's another thing in the documentary. It shows like Billy refuses to play it in the same event. He just submits a VHS.
Yeah.
And Twin Galaxies takes it and accepts it as like the end all be all truth.
Yeah, it's like.
And so there's corruption. There have been a few. I want to say there was like 2 curators that did end up getting caught.
Like straight up, like facilitating.
Facilitating and altering scores for themselves or for their friends.
Yeah.
But now because it's a corporation, it's a team.
Yeah.
Everyone has to cross-reference each other.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating. It's kind of like when we went to the pinball.
Yeah. Like the whole community around pinballing that I didn't even existed.
Yeah, there's a community around arcade games and setting scores that I had no idea existed.
Yeah. Well, it's like
and it's an extreme community.
Oh yeah. It was like I knew speedrunning was a thing and stuff like that, but I didn't know a whole lot about it. But I saw again, I got like on one of those YouTube binges where we're just watching stuff, and like the speedrunning community, it's actually fascinating. And like I don't have the attention span to actually watch like from beginning to end a speedrun. I mean, I would like to someday like watch a live one, not like one that's already happened, but like the story is fascinating. Like when you watch like the aftermath of like how these things have like the speed run where it's like, oh yeah, now they've gotten it down to like this fast and like how they did it and all that. And like the story of it. And there's like different categories because there's like regular pure speed run, like, and then there's like the glitch speed runs where it's like anything goes as long as you're not physically modding the game.
Right.
And those are almost more interesting to me because they escalate so much. Like, it's pure skill, don't get me wrong, with like the pure speed run. But then like the glitch ones, you still have to do like frame perfect stuff sometimes. It's still like super skilled. But then on top of that, it's like just this most intense like for instance Portal.
Yeah.
You know what the fastest speedrun is on Portal? It's like 14 minutes. You know how that's even possible? Like actual for reals portals. Because there's all kinds of things. Like there was Valve tried to fix in, I think it's like Half-Life or whatever, because they use the same engine. In Half-Life there was this thing where like when you're jumping, if you just like keep jumping, your momentum gets exponential because of the way it calculates that. And so they tried to fix it to where that doesn't happen, but they didn't fix it right, so you can still just do it backwards. Okay. So they do that. Or, like, there's certain exploits to where you can actually, like, warp through levels and stuff. And, like, if you build up the right amount of momentum. And it's just so crazy. I mean, like I was telling you the other day, like, how you could, in Mario 64, because that game's so janky, like, glitch runs of that game are the best. Like, I've seen highlight reels and just how people do it. And it's like where if you do the forward, like the infinite long jump where you're long jumping in place long enough, Mario just like freaks out and shoots forward like across the stage.
Yeah.
And like sometimes you can just straight up clip through like doors and stuff you're not supposed to get to. It's just crazy that these things exist, like these communities.
Yeah, and so that actually brings up a good talking about speedruns. Brings up a good point. I figured in the description for this episode we'll put a link for Twin Galaxies, so you can kind of go and check that out because that's fascinating.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But there's another website called GamesDoneQuick.com.
Yeah,
and they actually work with charities. So every year they host an event. Or they host several events, and they're fundraisers, and so like I would actually recommend like donating.
Oh yeah,
you know, if you have some spare cash and actually sitting in and watch it because they stream it.
Yeah.
But they do speed runs, and what's really neat is they break it down. So there are speed runs playing the game as it should be played.
Yeah.
There are glitch runs.
Yeah.
Which is what you're talking about, where you like backflip backwards onto the corner of a building, and then that sends you to the final level, and then you beat the game. And then there are tool-assisted speedruns.
Yeah, those are fascinating
which are insane because that is basically breaking the game to your will.
Yeah.
And you have to separate them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but tool-assisted runs are incredible because it's like Final Fantasy beat in 7 minutes.
Yeah, because it's as if you... Yeah, because it's still insanely skilled because you have to know the right thing to do.
Yeah,
but
and you have to understand how the game works.
Yeah.
And how to exploit the actual like game data. It's not glitching. It's like
you know the exact frames to move and everything.
Yeah, but you have to use a tool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you have to actually use like a program that's going into the game because you can't do that. Like a human can't hit A that fast enough.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you do, then
it's basically like, if it's basically putting you on the level of like a computer.
Yeah.
So it's like, cause you can like pause at any time and you can do like frame by frame gameplay.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it literally stops every frame and you like tilt this many degrees and go. It's crazy. Yeah.
But they're fascinating. And I actually like, so speed runs are awesome.
Yeah.
And, I think speedruns are like the end all be all of like being able to play a video game.
Yeah.
That being said, it is not nearly as fascinating as glitch runs or tool assisted speedruns because glitch runs break everything you knew about video games.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
And it's awesome and it's hysterical. Like it is hysterical watching a game fold in on itself.
It's like being it's like being it's like speed running a game, like pure speed run. Mm-hmm. It's like you're Batman, like you are peak human, like just going at it. But like glitch speed runs, it's like you're a wizard. Yeah. Like you are Doctor Strange. You have learned the secrets of the universe and you are bending it to your will, and it is like amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Like,
And then again, tool-assisted speedruns are awesome because you actually learn about programming. Yeah. Because people have to kind of explain it to you to explain like, okay, this computer is on, like we have two computers on the same level. Yeah. They both understand each other and they are syncing in perfect harmony. And
you're operating.
Like you are the sync cable.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're the link cable between the computers as they like just go through code and understand the game. So that stuff's really cool.
If we're going with our superhero analogies, then it's like the tool assisted speedruns are being like Iron Man. Yeah. And you got Jarvis between you and the suit making it work. Yeah. Which is still rad. But like it's nuts.
Or it's like Neo.
It's like Neo, right? Yeah.
It's like Neo in the Matrix.
And then he's got his operator.
And you're the guy on the computer that's just watching the insanity go down. And it's really cool. But I think for me personally, like glitch runs are my favorite to watch.
They're the spectacle.
They're
it's
like
Mario 64 glitch runs. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, they are, because that game is if you're just playing it normally, somehow it plays perfectly normal and you'd never know it's glitched. But if you push it just a little bit, it is the jankiest game ever made.
Oh yeah,
because it's like
even Ocarina of Time has like.
Oh yeah, like the my favorite with that is like there's a glitch, and it's like, because again it's like you have to understand the game, how it loads data. Yeah, and it's like it's in the Deku Tree, right? Yeah. Where it's like you catch a fish and then you let the fish go as you backflip out of the warp pipe. Yeah. And then the game thinks, okay, when he leaves this room, he has to go somewhere. Yeah. And so it's looking for the number. And if like you drop the fish and then open the door to leave, the game is like, oh, let me carry the 3. Oh, he goes to Ganon's castle, I think. And so you can go to Ganon's castle as Kid Link with 3 hearts. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what? Yeah. Yeah, it's insane. It's kind of like making your own codes for NES games. Yeah, yeah. That's fascinating because the numerical values and where they're placed on a password screen have a way of it's basically like it knows like where you are, what you've done, how it's done it by where you place the numbers. Yeah. So if you know the code of the game, say like in Metal Gear, you can literally put in a code that spawns you in the Metal Gear fight with all the ammo. Oh yeah, yeah. And all the health, and you can just beat the game right then and there. Yeah, the randomized code generate, like, because like games that had randomized codes, you could get cheat codes that are impossible to do normally. Yeah. It's nuts. But it can also like melt your game, especially maybe not on an NES. Like an NES, it will break. Like the game itself will just like spaz out. Yeah. But if you do, like, say Metroid, right? So if there's a password that if you use on an NES with an NES cart, it just bricks the cart. You have to turn off the game, reset it. You're fine. It's not even. It's like it's even weirder than that, really, because it's like the game loads wrong. Yeah, it loads wrong. Yeah, and it's like the creepiest thing because it's like playing the game, but it's not functioning right. Yeah, like the world does not work the way it's supposed to. It's like a kill screen. If you're familiar with that. Like the Pac-Man kill screen. Where like code, which like is kind of like numbers and crap are on the screen. Yeah, like the game is actually breaking. Like you're watching the code scrolling on the screen because it can't keep up. It's literally eating itself. Yes. So I highly, highly do not recommend doing that same thing on your 3DS with the Virtual Console Metroid, because you are dealing with an emulated software on a machine that is much smarter than we give it credit. When the game starts to break, the console itself starts to try to aid that emulation. Yeah. And it doesn't know what's going on. And the emulation takes over and completely bricks and destroys your DS. Like it's gone. Yeah. Like it's dead. Yeah, because so for some background on why this code is so deadly. Yeah. It's basically the equivalent of like giving an AI, like was it like an impossible to solve like equation or whatever, you know? Yeah, it's like tic-tac-toe in war games. Yeah, where it's like but like what happens is, so Metroid tracks. Because like the ending depends on like how long you spend. Yeah. It tracks the amount of time that you're playing. Yeah. And that's factored into the code. Yeah. But see, the thing is, normally there's a digit that can never be in a certain spot or whatever. Yeah. Because that would mean that you played the game for 1,000,000 years or something. Yes. And if you do this code, the game goes, okay, so let's see. Let me just look it up real quick. How many years did you play? Yeah. And it like freaks out. Yeah. Which is fine unless you're dealing with a computer that's emulating. In which case that code. Yeah, in which case the DS looks and it tries to calculate you having played for 1,000,000 hours, and it literally aneurysms. Yeah, it kills itself. It's just like, I've seen too much, I'm out later. Yeah, so,
fascinating stuff. But I recommend, like, go to Twin Galaxies for your history lesson. Go to Good Games Done Quick for basically your like programming information. But we've been talking about this, and I think I finally figured out the best analogy for speedrun, glitch, and tool assisted.
Yeah.
Speedrunning is like the UFC.
Yeah.
You have two humans who are in their prime, physical fitness, and they're fighting each other, and it is real. They are bleeding, they are sweating, that's going down. A tool-assisted run is like watching a kung fu movie.
Yeah.
You have two people in great condition, and they know everything, and they are working in harmony to make art.
Yeah.
Glitch runs is WWE.
Yeah.
With all the sparklers and fireworks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like, it's people who are super physically fit, but they are not playing by rules that humans play by.
Yeah.
The drama is crazy. You never know what to expect. And, maybe a future president jumps in the ring and starts taking on wrestlers. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to happen. And I think the spectacle of that, like, that's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like... And it's fascinating to see how people exploit, like... Because it's these huge communities that work around trying to find these exploits. Because, like, there's... In Wind Waker, there's that... When you get to Hyrule, and there's a barrier, and you need the Master Sword to break it. And there was, like, a bounty. Like, people put together money into an account, and, like, if anybody can figure out... Like, it was, like, $1,000 if somebody can figure it out. And, like, nobody's been able to do it in the GameCube version. But something like a number is in a different position in the GameCube version.
Yeah.
And you can... It's the most ridiculous thing... Because there was a glitch that could get you past the damage barrier, but then there's an invisible wall. But then you also, like, you pull out the... It's like you pull out the hook shot, you do a backflip, and then you tilt right backwards or something, and then if you're... and you aim at a specific spot in the sky, and if you did it pixel perfect, Link just teleports 100 feet past the barrier. It's like, what?
I've also seen the one where if you like play music or do something, like you like equip a bottle while playing music on the boat like shoots like 1,000,000 miles an hour.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but like if you're not aimed in the correct position, like to stop at the island, like Link just infinitely flies across the map.
Yeah, it's not even the boat. What it is it's like you get to a ledge on the water, and it's like you drop a thing, and then you pull out the wand or whatever in like the falling animation, but you have to do it just perfect.
Yeah.
And then the second Link hits the water, you just rocket across the sea instantly. But if you aim wrong, because like if you aim perfectly, you can just basically teleport to an island.
Yeah.
If you aim wrong and you like thread the needle, you just fly to oblivion.
Yeah, and that's another glitch speed run that people have done for
Wind Waker. Wind Waker is nuts. It's because people can get it down to like 4 hours or 5 hours or something.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. But so I mean I think we had a good episode today.
Yeah.
We did the round robin. We got some history, we got some tech talk, we got some
you got a little
news about current video games. We got some retro news. Yeah.
It was pretty fun. Got in the mood for some speed runs because those are nuts.
Yeah, so we might have to pull up some.
Yeah, but no, definitely. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Let us know what your favorite speed runs are.
Yeah, or if you know documentaries, there's some great ones. I guess I can real quick. So King of Kong is probably the end all be all. Like that is.
Yeah.
I would argue one of the best documentaries ever made.
Yeah.
Like across the board of documentaries, I think it's a great one. But it's also the king of video game documentaries. Like if you like video games and you have not seen it, you are doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
There's another documentary called Man vs. Snake, which is about another high score setter on the game. I just blanked.
Snake?
No, it is not called Snake. It is It is it what? Oh my gosh. Give me a second because now I'm embarrassed. It has got a weird name. It's a very good one, and it's like the side story to King of Kong. It's like King of Kong is like the end all be all, but there are other stories.
Yeah.
And what is that game? Nibbler.
I've never even heard of that game.
You haven't heard of it, but you know what it is. It's Pac-Man, but you're a snake. And as you eat the pellets, your tail gets longer.
Yeah.
And you have to eat all the pellets, but if you touch your tail, it's a game over.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's the game Snake. But
Yeah.
like, it's been ported as Snake.
Yeah, so it is.
I'm tracking now, yeah.
The arcade cabinet,
Was the original game.
So you are right, it is Snake.
It's like how, like, Arkanoid is Breakout and all these, like, and all these other people, like, I think most people know it as Breakout, or maybe just me, but, like, Arkanoid is the original game.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So Man vs. Snake is really good, but it, funny enough, features Walter Day and Twin Galaxies because it is another side story of another human being against an arcade machine.
Yeah.
And the high score set on it. And that one does a better job of showing, like, that there's an international crowd.
Yeah.
It's really good, so I recommend that one. And then to kind of, I guess, close out the trilogy of the Twin Galaxies drama.
Yeah.
There is another documentary called Chasing Ghosts, but Chasing Ghosts is like the dark side of it. It is. You get glimpses into the relationships that these people have.
Yeah.
And you get glimpses in Man vs. Snake and King of Kong of like the eccentric type of people that have to play these games, the people that support them, the people that are hurt because of their obsession with the games. And you get glimpses. And you have to sit there and go, man, this guy's wife is something else. There is a great scene in King of Kong. I'm not going to spoil it, but it has to do with being a parent and neglecting that because you are getting the high score on Donkey Kong.
Oof.
And it's pretty funny. Also terrifying.
Yeah.
And Man vs. Snake is another one where you see a family and you see a loving relationship that supports somebody's hobby. It's really cool. Chasing Ghosts is how that ruins lives. And it's not necessarily the most fun to watch, but it does give you another glimpse into it because you have to think, like all things, and I don't mean this in an offensive way, and I don't mean for it to be a taken. There are nut jobs.
Oh, yeah.
And you see them in both Man vs. Snake and in King of Kong. There are people who you cannot believe are real people. Yeah. Because they are so nutty.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And Chasing Ghosts shows like what happens to people that are in an environment that have so many weird people and how these weird people who can't interact with human beings somehow manage to interact with each other, but it's not healthy. Yeah. And so that's a really good one. So,
that's crazy. I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah.
I'll have to check them all. I need
I've rambled a lot. But
yeah. That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. And, as always, if you want to help out, the best thing you can do is share, the pod, whatever. We got some more videos coming out soon. And so that'll be fun, and I'll always just thanks for watching or listening, I guess in this case.
And remember, share.
Yeah.
And then like and comment.
Yeah.
But make sure to share.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if you dislike.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Even if you don't comment.
Yeah, or even if you comment and say, hey, you guys suck.
Yeah. Just spam that share button.
Oh yeah. But all right, yeah, we'll see y'all next week, and hopefully we'll have some other videos up on the channel soon because we got a lot cooking we'll have going up pretty soon. So
yep.
Later.